E360 TV proudly presents messages of inspirational stories. Live streaming now to millions of devices, including Roku, Apple TV, Amazon Fire TV, Android TV, YouTube Live, Facebook Live, with your host, Donna and Jim, producer and host, Jim Grant, producer and host, along with Michaela Vidal, administrator and host, and Gaia Ginwa Balconi Wada, editor-in-chief.
Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the Messages of Inspirational Stories. Today is Monday, and Monday is all about making a difference in business.
Yes, it is, Donna. And ladies and gentlemen, we're glad to be here. We're brought to you by the 6-Minute Webinar, and we're just so honored to be able to share some great and inspiring stories about how entrepreneurs can make a difference, not only in their lives or families' lives, but other people's lives, including their community. And that's what it's all about, isn't it, Donna?
It really is. It really is. There is so much good out there that people are doing and have done for centuries and centuries and centuries.
Mm-hmm. And during these hard times that we're going through and is going to be going through, the cream will always rise to the top. And you just might be sitting out there in TV land, you know, thinking about what can I do? Don't think about what I can do. Look for ways for what you can do, because the energy will bring those ideas to you. They'll be popping in your mind like popcorn on a hot stove.
They certainly will.
I'm getting stuck here in my chair, so if I look like I'm doing something weird. Anyway.
Well, let's talk about our National Todays.
Okay. We want to do that today. Again today? We'll do it again today.
Yeah,
yes.
We'll do it again today. We'll do it again today.
There is. How about you want to start that first one off, because I know that you really like that.
There is. I'm just going to say it. There is a lot of things that are right up my alley today, and one of the first ones is a better breakfast day.
Oh yeah.
Yep, have a better breakfast. And, you know, my mother used to always say, she had a degree in nutrition, and she used to say that you're supposed to eat breakfast like a king, lunch like a prince, and dinner like a pauper.
That's right.
Right? So that you have all your energy during the day, all your fuel, and you're not going to bed on a huge tummy.
Oh, yeah, because that's horrible.
Right. So, you know, and I know over the years, you know, I grew up like you did, Jim, when dinner was 6, 7, 8 things on the table, and everything went from the stove or the oven into a bowl onto the dinner table. And I progressed on that over the years. And now it goes from stove to plate. I skip out all the middle. But, you know, I found in our later years in our home, we don't eat as much at dinner as we obviously, as we used to. We eat a lot smaller than we ever have. But breakfast is so important, and eating healthy. I got to tell you, folks, it affects everything we do. Like for me, I'm hypoglycemic. So I have to literally eat all day long, right? I keep my blood sugar up and going. If I don't, I get in a lot of trouble. But boy, howdy, being, going too long in between is really, really difficult on us. So, you know, egg bites, there's lots of course, vegan things out there, keto friendly, you know, you name it. There's everything out there that you can just make super quick or pre-make, Jim, and pull out of the refrigerator and have it ready to go.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. As you're talking about that and eating healthy and all that, it reminds me of a time that Elvin called me, and she's out there in Tucson with her mother. And she says, "Did you have breakfast this morning?" And I said, "Yeah." Now, before she left, she had made these real nice homemade chocolate chip cookies with nuts in them. So I get up that morning, and because I always drink my water in the morning. That's very, very important because you've been fasting all night.
You had coffee and cookies, didn't you?
Yes, ma'am, I did. And she asked me, she said, what'd you eat this morning? I said, well, I didn't really eat per se. I just had a couple of those cookies and some coffee. She says, cookies and coffee? That's not breakfast. I said, well, it's a poor man's bachelor's breakfast. What could I say?
Love it. I
What
love
could
it.
I say? And ladies and gentlemen, today is also National Chimichanga Day. Chimichanga Day.
I love chimichangas.
I do too.
So good.
I do too. I mean, when you eat food that you got to lick your fingers, oh my goodness, it doesn't get any better than that. And
Nope.
here is a day that's very, very special. It should be every day, but this day is recognized once a year. In fact, it and the community is recognized on the same day, and that is National Family Day and National Community Day. My goodness gracious, Family and Community Day. Let me correct that. And it's so important for us to take time to appreciate the people in our lives that have helped us down the pathway of life. They've been with us through thick and thin. And they love you regardless of yourself, sometimes, but the people who are near and dear to your heart, they're there for a reason. And it's everybody likes to be appreciated and hear a thank you once in a while, I think.
That's right.
Last
Absolutely.
I checked, I did.
Well, I love this one. It is National Love Note Day. Grab a note, a pen and paper, and get ready to celebrate and give somebody you love a note. When my kids were little and I packed their lunch every day for school, they always had a note in their lunch. And whether it was a handwritten note or back in the day, I don't know if they still have them, but you could buy little notes of inspiration for your children. And they'd open it up and they would read it. Or sometimes they'd have that and I'd write on the back. But, I send notes every day with my husband on the stuff I pack for him for his lunch. Every day he has notes on all his food.
And if he opens up his lunch and he sees that note that says, buddy, you're in trouble, he's gonna be wiping sweat the rest of the day, right?
No, but it's pretty funny because it's known that I write notes, I'll write it on the banana or on the baggies or what have you. And all the guys will be like, so what's on your brownies today? What's your note?
Yeah, she takes pecans and spell out the big letters,
Right.
Donna, I got to ask you something. Today is also National Dumpling Day. The only dish that I've ever had or ever heard of, to be honest with you, is chicken and dumplings. I grew up in the country, and that was when I heard dumplings, it was always with chicken. Have you ever heard of any other? I imagine they are. I just never heard of
different dumplings. There are, there is I don't know if it's an Oriental dumpling that they do a little bit different in, I think, some soups and stuff. They're really good.
Yeah.
And also there is, like apple dumplings.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Right. So it says here on that in 225 AD, the Chinese invented dumplings. According to Chinese legend, dumplings were invented in the Three Kingdoms era.
Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And of course, you mentioned apple dumpling. I've heard of those, and
Right.
I've had them, but it kind of reminds me here, and they mentioned the movie actor Bill Bixby starred in the Disney comedy Western.
Apple
Dumpling Game. Oh man, that was fun. Those are the kind of fun movies I enjoy. Instead of all the doom and gloom, the bang, blow them up and shoot them up, and all this stuff. But it's really important for us to reflect back on what's important for us in our life, what we should thankful for, and be thankful for. And I tell you, when it comes to just being grateful for what you have, and having a satisfied mind
Mhm.
That is a great blessing. It really is,
It
because
is.
a lot of people, if they see someone that's got a nicer car or a more expensive car than they got, the greed comes out. Let's call it what it is. It's greed. And it robs them of the true joy of life and living. And that's about as poor and as bankrupt as you can get on the inside.
Well,
And
it's funny. We were talking about that last night,
were
and
you?
yeah, we were after dinner, we were talking, and I said, when I was young, in my, real late teens, early 20s,
Mhm.
I wanted the big house. I wanted the fancy this and the fancy that. And I said, and I look at life now and I want so much less.
Mm. Amen.
I don't want a big house. I don't want that much upkeep, to be honest with you.
That's a sign of intelligence right there, right?
Right? I mean, I got enough upkeep with, four
Mhm.
cats and a dog that walks down the hall and the fur balls just dispense as he walks. But and my husband said the same thing. Yeah, I was the same way. And we're both like less is more. For
Oh
us at
yeah.
this point in time in our life,
Mhm.
less is absolutely the best gift we can give ourselves.
It really is. And when Evelyn's mother came to live with us after she had her second stroke, at that point in time, she needed very little as far as
Mhm.
material things.
Right.
All she really needed was someone, and I was mainly her day keeper during the day because she was still able to go and take care of personal business, and Evelyn would help her with their showers and things of that
Mhm.
nature. But I was the guy that always, at 3 o'clock every day, I'd go to the freezer and I'd pull out a little. She loved these little miniature ice cream sandwiches, and I would, unwrap it for her about three-fourths the way and put a napkin around it. And I walk over there and I'd hold it up, and her eyes would get real big like that. She'd reach up there and grab it, and I'd say, "You doggone thief, you!" And she'd just get the giggles. See, the beauty in her having dementia, she didn't
Yeah.
remember. That's an old joke, but it
Right.
brought a pleasant time to her. But the point being is that all she really needed, and all we ever need, is for someone to love us and take care of
Mhm.
us and
Right.
be there for us and help us in our hour of need.
Well, but it gave you a wonderful memory too, Jim.
Yeah, yeah, it did. Yeah, it
It
did.
brings a
Bec-
smile to your face.
I gotta say something about my mother-in-law. A lot of people know her from Bisbee, Arizona. Her and John, they owned Ortega Shoes. They were in the shoe business. Very well-known people. My mother-in-law and I never had a cross word at all. And when I be around guys, they start talking about their mother-in-laws. I said, "Well, you got to deal me out on this one here because I goofed up. I got a good one." And we were just she just embraced me as a son,
Hmm.
and just a wonderful, wonderful lady. I'll always have precious memories of her. And one day, I can just hear I can just hear her say, "Jim Grant, where have you been?" Well, you wouldn't believe this. I even tried to get in here with fudging having a heart attack, and that didn't work. But also
Oh,
today, Donna, National Pancake Day. Oh, goodness
yes.
gracious. I'm looking here at this chart, ladies and gentlemen. It says the five most popular types of pancakes. Number one on the list, 33%, is buttermilk. And that's my favorite.
Hmm.
19% is blueberry. 18% is chocolate chip.
Too sweet.
15% is just a plain mixture.
Hmm.
And 8% is another favorite of mine, and that's banana. Yeah. I like
We,
banana, blueberry, plain, and about the only one I don't care for is chocolate chip. I don't know why, and I'm a chocoholic, but I just don't really care for chocolate
yeah,
chip.
there's some things with chocolate. As much as I love chocolate, I
Yeah.
can't. I
We
can't
got
do.
our pride.
Right. Well, we just got in a deep dish waffle maker.
Oh.
And that sucker, when I say deep dish, I'm not kidding you. It will make the pancakes this high. I mean, the waffles.
The
So, what
waffles,
you
yeah.
can do is you put in a little layer of mix, just enough to put the bottom. And then,
Mhm.
if you want to do a fruit or something, you put that in there. and then you do the rest of the batter and cook it, and you've got filled waffles.
I
Yum.
was, I was staying at I guess it was a Holiday Inn Express. I don't know, but you know how they have those waffle makers and
Yes.
out there.
Yes.
Well, anyway, it was about 3 or 4. There was 4 older couples there, elderly couples, and so they were at least 5 minutes older than I was. Anyway, I just decided I'm gonna make a waffle, so I did, and you got to turn the thing over, get it going, and pop it open and all that. And the guy looked at me and he says, "You do a pretty good job there." And I said, "Wait a minute, make you one?" Yeah, I said, "Make me and my wife one." So I made him one. And then the other people says, "Wow, those look really nice," which was a big time hint. I said, "Can we make a couple?" I was making waffles like I worked there. But I didn't have any place to go in a big hurry, anything like that. And it just, they really appreciated it. So, just to be able to do a little nothing like that
Right.
to brighten someone's
That you still
day.
gave back. You gave back.
Yeah, exactly. That's what makes the world turn. That'll make the canary sing in your heart. How about that?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Well,
Oh,
this is going to be a fun show, and
mhm.
I think one of the first things, because it was a perfect segue, so thank you for that, Jim. How
Okay.
entrepreneurship can make a difference,
Mm,
right? So there's many definitions of entrepreneurship.
mhm.
Um, I mean, there's just think about all the different ones. There's, you're in for profit. There's your nonprofit. It just goes and goes and goes, right?
Mhm,
But
mhm.
it isn't always about the money, is it, Jim?
No, 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 no. Money is the last thing that can possibly make you successful. One of the key things that should send off a red flag in your mind if you say, or you think, or if you hear someone else say, "What do you want to do?" "I want to make money." Well, that
Right,
is the poorest reason, or it's really more of an excuse, but that's the poorest reason you can possibly say to yourself or hear
right.
someone say, because hey, everybody knows the farmer, when he plants a crop, he's got to wait for the crop to grow and be ready for harvest before he reaps it. And if you work for a living, you're going to have to work probably 2 weeks and then wait another 10 days or maybe another week for your paycheck.
Right.
But you never, money is the reward for your efforts. That's my point.
Money is the byproduct of your
Yes.
passion. No, it's the
Yes.
byproduct of your passion.
Hmm.
So
And
this
Donna,
article,
go ahead.
I'm
I'm
sorry,
sorry.
go ahead.
No. Ladies first.
Well, no, you
Should
go
be
ahead
idea, yeah.
because I was going to jump into this a little bit more, but go ahead and finish
Okay.
what you were going to say.
I was just going to say that I really like what Dan Sullivan wrote in an article to Strategic Coach. He says there are many definitions of entrepreneurship, as Donna was talking about there, but he really liked the one, and I do this too. I like this one here from the 19th century French economist Juan Baptista say,
Jean Baptiste.
John Baptiste, I flunked that in school too.
Jean Baptiste.
He said that an entrepreneur, listen to this, an entrepreneur is someone who takes resources from a lower level of productivity and raises it to a higher level of productivity. And regardless of what that resource is, a product, service, or experience, if it's adding value to the marketplace, being used in a way, and a business has been built around it, it's entrepreneurship, and it revolves around innovation and creative resources that are better than what the people had before. In other words, the end result is blessing the people.
Right.
That's the great definition of entrepreneurship.
The goal of entrepreneurship is always the same, and it's to help people,
Mm-hmm.
to provide a value and make
Mm-hmm.
their life better for everyone around them. So,
Mm-hmm.
understanding and believing that entrepreneurs make the world a lot better on a daily basis is a very practical way for the highest
Mm-hmm.
number of people on the planet.
Mm-hmm.
Also, understand that even all the big businesses out there that are incorporated and have, people on their board. They all started small somewhere.
Mm-hmm.
Every one of them.
That's
Right?
right. And one thing about entrepreneurs, entrepreneurs comes from everyday people, me and you. No
Yep.
government can send me a letter and say, okay, you got to be an entrepreneur. And this is
Right.
what you got to do. I mean, it doesn't happen that way. It's got to
Right.
come from dream from within. It's got to be your
Right.
world, your reality. And
You
think
know,
how you
go
think
ahead.
how we feel, Donna, whenever people take a dream and they build it into a reality. The pride that they have in that, the dignity that they have. When I
Right.
say pride, I'm not talking about puffed up pride. I'm talking about the pride in that they've done a good job, the pride that they've got a good name and they've been a good servant to other
Hmm.
people. Oh,
Absolutely.
that's something money
And
can't buy.
absolutely. And it goes on in this article that
Hmm.
said it's not about the money. It says, after working with entrepreneurs across all industries for decades, I've noticed that the most successful entrepreneurs don't have financial goals as their overriding reason for being in business and taking on the risk of entrepreneurship. If they were only in it for the money, they'd never succeed. In fact, they'd probably be better off climbing the corporate ladder if money was their ultimate goal.
Hmm.
Instead, those who find success in entrepreneurship are the game changers. They
I
come
like
in with an innovative mindset, knowing that they will introduce the next person to the market or that they can provide bigger and better results than what currently exists.
that. Hmm.
They want to make a difference in the
Hmm.
lives of their customers and their clients. And if they make money in the process, that's just an added bonus. Now, I want to take a quick moment here and say, Jim, I know you know people like this too. I know people who are entrepreneurs, of course, right? We all
Hmm.
do. But I know somebody in particular, of course, I'm not going to name a name, that would be really wrong and most indelicate. But I can tell you that if you sit and watch some people that you are around closely, you will see the ones who say they're in it to make the connections, to connect people, to do all the things. And honestly, if you really watch them, some of those people will be in it to butter their own bread. They want to make the most money, and they have beyond puffed up pride. They have the most
Hmm.
egotistical pride that was ever put on the planet. And they want to
Hmm.
walk around as big man on the totem pole, so to speak.
Hmm. Yeah, you're exactly right, Donna, because you folks out there in Hollywood, I know who she's talking about. If you guys think you're a great actor, you could take lessons from this individual because whenever your money or your God becomes money,
Hmm.
that's when you are on the wrong
Right.
pathway. You're doing 90 miles an hour down a dead end street, as the old song goes, and you're in trouble because
Right.
sooner or later, the wheels will come off your cart at a high speed. And it's
Hmm.
a horrible price to pay. And because everybody around you sees it,
Hmm.
you try to be like a chameleon and cover it up. And
Right.
that's why you need to guard against that. And one of the best ways to prove to yourself and to any temptation that you have that money's not your God, start giving it away, giving it to charities, giving it
Right.
to individuals to help them enhance their life. Not a handout, but a hand up. And look for ways for that because what you're going to realize is that you'll never be able to outgive the master giver. The people
Yes,
who
that's a
want
fact.
more and more and more, they're, well, look at maybe I shouldn't use this analogy. Look at the Great Wall of China. At one time, they thought, hey, we got it all. Let's build a wall around this place and we'll keep it all. And
Right.
what happened? They got passed up.
Well,
They
and
got really passed up. Mhm.
right, and if you're not sure, follow your heart because there's
Oh,
so
yeah.
many organizations out there that
Mhm.
will, really resonate with your heart, and that you
Mhm.
can give either money or your time or both to,
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah.
right?
I mean, there's food banks out there who could use the labor. There's animal shelters out there who would appreciate you coming in and helping them clean the place. And, there's just anywhere that you look. Even if you go into, a community center or something like that and help clean up or vacuum the floor or something, do something productive for someone.
Right, your library or anything. Just there's
Yeah.
just
Hmm.
hundreds and hundreds out there.
Hmm.
So, Jim, let's go into this next portion about entrepreneurship success stories.
Okay.
Right, you want to lead off, sir?
Okay. I'm going to start out with Juan Fernandez. When it comes to someone like Juan Fernandez, you don't have to look very, very far to find a good example of how entrepreneurship can make a difference. Many of our entrepreneurs at the strategic coach, they're making a difference to thousands of people in the communities around the world. That's what makes them a true entrepreneur. And Juan Fernandez is one of these people. He has a company called Asymmetrics Incorporated. Now, as an animal scientist and animal nutritionist, Juan has had years of scientific study behind him. He was raised on a farm in Colombia, and he always had a dream as a boy growing up that he can make animal agricultural systems better for both humans and livestock.
Mhm.
And he knew that the world needed more protein and that new technological solutions were out there that could solve the problem. Someone just needed to figure out how to get those solutions from where they are to the people that really needed them. And this is how most technological advances come into our society. It's not just through technological innovations alone, but there is always an entrepreneur with a vision and a dream behind this advancement who is willing to take the risk, often laying down their own money and their chips to put on the table in a bet, you might say, that they can bring their product to the marketplace. And Donna, that's exactly what Juan did. I mean, that's
Yep,
amazing. Isn't
it is. And I love the fact that he talks about, making everything better for both the animals and the people. And
it?
we were,
Hmm.
it's kind of funny how this is coming in, but the other night we were talking. My husband's father had 6 heart attacks before he finally had one that took him out. And
Wow.
his doctor, he lived in Texas, and his doctor said, you can't eat eggs anymore. Yeah, no, not going to happen. So he said, by God, you're not taking away my eggs from me. So what he did is he got chickens and he put chickens on a diet. He had it so there was lower cholesterol in the eggs.
Wow.
Yep. He put his chickens on a diet because he wasn't going to not have his eggs. So he had eggs because he was, a breakfast kind of guy. You've got to have your eggs and
Mm.
whatnot in the morning, and there was no way that was going to happen. So he thought about it, and he made a lower cholesterol egg by putting his chickens on a diet.
That's amazing. I mean, that's really amazing. And goodness gracious, can you imagine taking that innovation to
Hmm.
uh, to chicken farms that take pride in range
Right?
chickens that. Oh my goodness gracious, especially with heart
Absolutely.
disease being the number one killer in the world. You know,
Well, like I found out recently going to the doctor, and I didn't know this with heart issues, is that it goes on a scale from on your plaque from
mhm,
0 to 400.
mhm.
And zero, nobody has zero.
Mm-mm, mm-mm,
Nobody has zero. So that's kind of interesting. So think about it.
mhm,
And it doesn't usually sneak up on us until we're in our 40s and above.
mhm. And when it sneaks up on you, you know
Sneaks up hard.
it.
It sneaks up hard. Well, this
It does.
next one's kind of interesting. This is
Mhm,
a story about Daryl Bellamy, and he
mm,
is a CEO of Bellamy Inspires, a
mhm.
TEDx speaker and author, and a self made fear researcher. He spends nearly all of his time focusing on one simple question: do you know what's holding you back from achieving your wildest dreams? Daryl
Wow.
travels the world talking to students and millennials about fear,
Mhm.
empowering and motivating them to overcome the limiting beliefs standing in the way of their goals. So far, he's collected nearly 50,000 written fears from people around the world. And he's
Mm.
come to realize the number one thing that holds most people back, regardless of upbringing, education, or industry.
Mhm.
The fear of not being enough is the number one reason that
Mm.
most people don't achieve the success they desire.
Wow.
With that knowledge, success simply becomes a matter of embracing the discomfort that comes with fear and
Mm.
learning how to move from fearful to fearless.
I like that. Mm.
Uh-huh. He said, I think it's pretty obvious that money is not the driving force behind Daryl's progress in
Mm.
entrepreneurship. No one becomes a speaker to get rich. They do it because they have a unique idea, concept, philosophy, or methodology that they want to share with the world. They
Mhm.
have something that can benefit others. And that
Mm.
is exactly what Daryl is doing.
Mm.
Entrepreneurship can take on many different forms. It's not always about creating products or services. Sometimes it's about inspiring others. And in this case, Daryl has inspired thousands of people to bring more value into the world and live a happier, more productive life.
Mm. We got to stop right there. We just got to pull the reins in here for just a moment, ladies and gentlemen. My goodness gracious, because what's really kind of entertaining in a way, and maybe a little shocking, is look at all the different phobias people have.
Right.
I mean, it is amazing. Now, I realize and I respect people have, the phobias. Don't get me wrong. I mean, I've had phobias too. And one of my biggest phobias I had to overcome was glossophobia.
Hmm.
And glosso comes from the Greek word meaning the tongue. I had the fear of public speaking for decades until the energy pushed me into a path when I became with the reserves. I had to leave the National Guard because my unit got shut down, find a new unit. The only thing I could find in the reserves was an instructor. And I remember telling myself on the way over the first morning, when did this seem like a good idea to you? And I struggled through that. So therefore, today on this show, let's put our email up, our address up there if we can,
Yep.
Donna. If anyone out there has the fear of public speaking, you want to get your message across, but it's just right there. You're either going to sound like
Right.
a human parakeet just twittering through the words. I've been there. I know what that's
Mhm.
like. Just
Absolutely.
e- just email us here at the station, inspiratione360tv.com. I will personally, the staff will get it to us. I will personally send you the document that I created as I outline how step by step I got over the fear of glossophobia. And I've been a speaker on stage, I'm on radio, I'm on TV, and
Yep.
I can speak in front of 3 people, 300 people, 3,000 people,
Right.
30,000 people. I don't know about that. I might get scared then. But that's my free gift to you. And also, I know Donna has a wonderful complimentary gift that she'd like to share. And while she's doing that, I'm going to put her website up there. Um, Here it is, Donna Guimwa, and I'm going to put up her email address that she's sharing about how she will give you a 30-minute complimentary consultation and how to put it with people like me. Stay.
No, I created high energy performance coaching, um, not because of anybody else, but because of my own life. So
Mm-hmm.
this is literally my coaching program is sort of a blueprint of my life at one time. And as a single mother of 3 teenagers, I've had arthritis since I was 9 years old. So there are times that I'm pretty down with it and can't use certain appendages. And then I got sick and didn't know what it was, and ended up, this is a short version, but I ended up in ER, and they took me in. I thought I was having a stroke, and they took me in for MRI and found I had an aneurysm. And of course, they didn't know at the time how big it was, where they just knew the general region. So they sent me up to see a neurosurgeon about the aneurysm, and the neurologist on duty set me up to go see her to find out what was going on with these, spells that I was having. Well, it turned out, after more tests than I can tell you, it turned out I have MS. So on the same day that it was determined that the test results came back that I have MS, after that appointment, I was heading over to the neurosurgeon to set up the first of my 3 brain surgeries. So the first brain surgery and the third brain surgery, I was awake. I had a little bit of a sedative to take the edge off, but I was awake. And they go up and they shoot iodine, and they only go up through the femoral artery about to my ear, and they would shoot dye up into my brain to see what was going on in there. And so they measured the aneurysm. It was a 4x6. So if you know anything about aneurysms, that's very, very, very large. And
almost
it
like
was
a fire hose.
Right. And it was behind my right eye on the internal carotid artery. So if that sucker decided to blow, I wouldn't have got 10 feet. I would have dropped dead right then and there. So I had the 3 brain surgeries in 14 months. 14 months. And what happened was my body took an ungodly amount of stress, right? Between my brain and my body trying to recover, working full time. After my main brain surgery, 3 weeks after main brain surgery, I went back to worked for a 40-hour week, and the following week, so that would be in the 5th week after main brain surgery, and I'm still bruised all over my body from the surgery, I worked 114 hours. My body was tired, and I couldn't talk. I couldn't complete a full sentence for almost 2 years, folks. So it comes down to 3 things. It comes down to a person, a place, or a thing, or a combination thereof, that blocks our energy and keeps us from moving forward and living the life that we want and are so justifiably ready to live. So
Amen.
that's right. So my program, give me, again, it's high energy right now at gmail.com, and I will sit down with you. May not be able to solve everything, but I will sit down with you for 30 minutes and we'll go over what we can.
And the beauty, pardon me for interrupting, and the beauty with both of our complimentary gifts, Donna and I both got skin in the game in our respective areas. We really do. Because my fear of public speaking happened in the 5th grade. When I first heard the teacher say we're going to have 2 oral book reports, one in the fall and one in the spring,
you were sick those days.
Well, immediately fear gripped me, and my second idea was she knows me well. I'm calling in sick that day. Then the teacher says, "Well, if you're sick that day, we'll just reschedule you." I'm going, I can't win for losing. But that truly scarred me. It petrified me. And even my wife, I was so good at camouflaging it. When I told my wife after I became an instructor and I overcame it, and through the help of other instructors, and that's what I put in my document. So at least you can afford it. It's a complimentary gift, and you won't be, I promise you, I'll teach you some things that some of the other folks out there will charge you for. Right. And same is true with Donna. But I can assure you from the bottom of my heart I earned every single letter, every single word, every single sentence in that. I earned that through hard work and sweat equity because I was so good at camouflaging it. When I told my
Right.
wife I'd overcome it, she said, I didn't know you had a fear of public speaking, but I
Hmm.
hit it very, very well. I was
Right.
able to snake by and get someone else to give the report in front of
Hmm.
people. You know, I was slick like that. And it's funny. So if you suffer from the fear of public speaking, let us know. And just,
Absolutely.
you can definitely get in touch with us, either one or both of us, here at the, put our email address up there if I can find it. There we go. InspirationE360TV.com. Our staff will get it. We will make sure that you receive the complimentary gifts, and we will not, as in NOT, not put your email address on some type of one of these
Spam.
one of these automated systems. Hey, guess what we got for you today for only $4.99? Or today's your lucky day. I'm going,
Right.
but Donna, when it comes to talking about entrepreneurs and giving back, that is the one common ground that helps people create a legacy or to have a satisfied mind is giving back. It
Yes.
really, truly is.
And it lets you go to sleep at night
Ooh, yeah.
so much more peacefully
Hmm. You can
because
give thanks going to sleep and give thanks when you wake up.
right, because at the end of the day you have given from your heart, not
Hmm.
because whether it's your heart, your time, or you've given money from your heart, but you've done it from the heart,
Mm.
not because somebody said, hey, you got to do this. You've done it for you,
Hmm.
and it makes sleeping so much more beautiful.
It really does. And when you do it, you're treating yourself.
Hmm.
You really, truly are. That puts octane in your tank. It puts a skip in your step. And no matter how bad you sing, you can still sound like a rock star in the shower in the morning.
Right. Well, Jim, I love this next portion about
Okay.
entrepreneurship is a global force for good.
Mm. Oh, yeah.
So, these couple of success stories that we've shared with y'all show that how entrepreneurship can make a difference. But it's so important to remember that entrepreneurs are a global force,
Hmm.
right? These are not just isolated incidents. Entrepreneurship is the single most powerful economic and creative force at work around the world.
Hmm.
Entrepreneurs are lone wolves by nature. They
Mm.
set out in the world on their own with a mission, a purpose, and a dream. That is, after all, one of the primary benefits of joining in an entrepreneurial community, to break away from isolation and joining groups of like-minded people. So,
Mm.
find that networking group that works for you, right?
Mm.
Find that area that you're in and find the group to join. But
Mm.
the unfortunate byproduct of seeing themselves as lone wolves is that entrepreneurs rarely think of themselves as a global unified force, but they are.
Mhm.
So, Jim, we've talked about this a lot, but
Mhm.
we erect, statues for political leaders, war heroes, scientists, yet
Mhm.
rarely do you see a statue for an entrepreneur,
Mhm.
even though
Amen.
entrepreneurship on the whole
Mhm.
has created the most of value, productivity, and happiness for the highest number of people on the planet.
Mm.
Think
Donna,
about
entrepreneurs have fed more people than any government or all the governments combined. Because
right.
when you look at movements, when you look at things, sure, when there's a hurricane come in, the government goes down and does this, that, and the other. But I'll tell you right now, the only time the government responds is at a big thing where they can show on TV what they're doing. Entrepreneurs, They're there when there isn't a storm or there isn't a a national tragedy or something. They're
Right.
there every day because people who are hungry, people who are in need, they're in need whether the sun is shining, and they're hungry whether the sun is shining or it's raining. And
Right.
the entrepreneurs as a whole, they have fed a multitude of people. And I've never known anyone in my life that gave to others that wasn't a happy person.
Right.
That's just the icing on the cake of life, isn't it, Donna?
It is. It is. And in the talking about entrepreneurs are a lone wolf, and truly
Mm,
that is the truth. But I can tell you this is an interesting story about two people who are right in front of you right now. So we are in many ways lone wolves, but we came together and creating our own pack, Jim and I. And
mm.
we came together purely by accident.
Well, it's all Marty Robbins' fault. I mean,
Right. Marty Haggett.
so I said Marty Robbins. Fans to go see
Yeah.
if you pay attention. He was named after Marty Robbins, but it's all Marty Haggard's fault. I say
But
that in good jest.
we knew, right. We knew each other, but we didn't know each other well.
We just knew of each other.
Hmm.
We had one or two a couple of phone calls or something, but I just I invited Marty Haggard to be a guest on my radio show, and I just had the inspiration to call Donna, and I says, Donna, and I says, guess who I got on my radio show? She says, who? I says, I'm going to have Marty Haggard. She says, oh my goodness. And she lit up like a Christmas tree. She says, I love Merle Haggard, his dad. And seeing the excitement, I knew that kind of energy, even though we're on the radio, we're on a podcast with no video, no camera or anything, I knew that energy would vibrate across the airways.
Airways. Hmm.
And so I invited her, and she said yes. We had a wonderful show. It was a wonderful visit because Marty is such a down-to-earth guy. I've known him
Oh,
for several years.
he is absolutely so sweet.
Yeah, he's the same on stage as he is in real life.
Mhm.
He's just
He is.
the only difference is he's going to play a guitar up there in front of people, maybe sit down in a chair or something or stand or whatever. But that's about
Right.
it. That's the only difference. And and Donna being so shy and so timid, we had just gotten off the air, and
Well,
now this
30
is back
seconds.
this is back during 2000 during COVID, and because everybody was home, so nothing else to do, so let's
Right.
do a show, and Donna, she looked at him, she says, Marty, yeah, Donna, would you like to be on my show? Well, sure, Donna, I'd be glad to. And then Donna pulled rank on me and drafted me to be on her show, her radio show with Marty, and it just gelled from there. And that was the
catalyst.
energy that just really got everything going. And all we did, we just kind of like drifted together without really. We didn't. I don't ever recall us sitting down and, hey, Donna, let's me and you, let's have a powwow and let's talk about
No.
doing something. I don't even remember how it all came together, to be honest with you.
Well, we just knew that we had great energy and that it
Mhm.
worked, and
And
then
we complimented, yeah.
absolutely. And so, we had a phone call one day, and he said, hey, want to go be my partner? I said, absolutely.
Yeah,
We've been
she knew
partners ever since.
she knew I needed help, and I knew it too.
Keep him on the straight and narrow, folks.
Yeah, you got to be honest with yourself if you're going to be successful.
That's right. That's right.
Mhm.
But
And be sure and laugh at yourself. That'll make you successful too.
absolutely. But the thing is that what we're trying to get at here is that even though you may have a business that
Mhm.
is, just you don't need anybody else to be working for you. We still need other
Mm.
people. We need to be able to
Yes.
talk to other people and bounce
Mm.
ideas and see
Oh,
if what
yeah.
we're working is going in the right direction. So
Mhm.
that's what they're talking about in the article, and that's what Jim and I are
Mhm.
talking about. Having that friendship and that camaraderie and that trust
Mhm.
within your integrity circle is everything.
one of the biggest comments and one of the biggest myths on planet Earth, if you hear someone like a newscaster say, he's a self or she's a self-made millionaire. Really? So nobody bought anything from that person except themselves. Huh? Did they print their own money too? I mean, it's a horrible expression. It really is, because it's, number one, it's not true.
It should be they started their business by themselves.
Yeah.
Right?
They started by
and they built it up to where they are today.
Yes, exactly.
Into a $1 million business, whatever it is.
Because that's accurate.
Right.
I mean, you think about if someone says, well, I'm a self-made millionaire, you know good and well that person's so stuffed up with pride. Oh, goodness gracious. I mean, anyway, I'm not going to go any further with that. I'm going to leave it right there. I just don't care for that expression or people that think like that.
Right. Right.
And I voted on that one day, and I was unanimous in that vote.
He was absolutely unanimous. So, there are entrepreneurs, this is what I love, all over the world, Jim. Honestly, we could never, ever, ever run out of amazing, heartfelt, heart-touching stories about entrepreneurs making a difference. And, Jim and I have been around probably every different kind of entrepreneur that you can think of. And I can tell you, as well as Jim can, again, there are those who you'll find in certain circles that, again, act as though they're doing it for everybody else, but they're not. They're there to butter their own bread. Yeah. And that is not what it's about.
If you think that's what it's about, you are cheating yourself out of the true riches of life. And I feel sorry for you. I mean, this is no other way to put it.
Right. There is so much out there for everybody. And that's the other thing. Please understand, if you're just thinking about going into business, or you're just starting your business, and do not let the head trash up here tell yourself that there isn't, oh my gosh, I just found out there's 18 other people in my town who are doing the same kind of business I'm doing, and I'm not going to have enough customers.
Oh, yeah.
That drives me crazy. You know why? Because there's only one you. And people will resonate with you, with your personality, how you present yourself, how you present your business, your ethics, everything, your energy. It's all going to show. And there's enough business in this world for everybody to have a piece of the pie.
Give the lady a standing ovation. Come on. I mean, that's good. Because think of it like this. Have you, in your travels, have known two businesses? They got the same product. One business may have a price a little higher than the other business, but the one with the cheaper price is a person that you don't really care for, you don't really like. The other person is a person that gives back to their community.
Right.
And you respect them. So the money is not that relevant. You'll find some way to say, I'm going to choose to do business with them.
Right.
Because indirectly, I'm giving back to the community. This other person, he's only interested, Donna likes to say, buttering his own bread, putting money in his own pocket. And, that's about as pitiful and bankrupt as you can get on the inside spiritually. I feel sorry for you.
It would be like saying that you live in a small town and there's only, I don't know, say 2 hardware stores and 2 restaurants, and that you never, ever go into each of them. Right? We know for a fact that people in small towns, they're owned by small town people, they're entrepreneurs. And guess what? People who you run in that lane, if you will go and visit both of them equally.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. They sure will.
And maybe Sam's hardware store has something that Fred's doesn't carry, and vice versa. But, at the end of the day, we want to support each other. I would much rather go to an entrepreneur to do business and give them my money than I would a big store, a big name brand store.
Exactly. We got a big, a lot of towns have a big name brand store. And I call it a necessary evil. It's the only time I go in there when it's absolutely necessary.
Right. Absolutely.
Donna, we're out of time. Oh,
we
gosh.
are.
I'm sorry.
Folks, thank you so much for joining us. We will be back tomorrow.
Thank you. Yes, we will. And be sure and love yourself, because that you owe yourself that. You really do. And you have the right to be loved because you are somebody. And when you love yourself, love others. And most importantly, forgive others and learn how to give yourself
grace.
Give yourself grace. We'll see you tomorrow, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in out there in TV land. Bless you. Be sure and get in touch with us for those free complimentary gifts. We'll see you tomorrow. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.